Delmain, tell us who you are and what do you do and why?
My name is May. I'm from Taiwan. I'm an artist. I do all kinds of arts. Why? Because I love it.
All right, now, so describe a real life situation that's inspired you.
Everything inspires me, but other than doing films, I'm also a performer. So performance, drama, stories especially inspires me because I always say it's like I'm traveling around the world to pick up shoes from other people's conversation.
And so talk to us about your film and how did these ideas happen and what was your process?
Yes, Falling Velvet is the name of this film, as you can see in the program. Falling Velvet in Chinese is 落红. 落红 means in Chinese kind of like from version to non-version, but also when women have period or giving birth. So it's like symbolizing from one stage of life to another stage of life. And this film is a metaphor for all kinds of transitions, pretty much like what we are now in the COVID. And the time I make this film, COVID hasn't started yet, but I had the feeling something is changing, or at least for me, my life is changing. So that's the reason why I started to make this film. And this is very important because also it combines the idea of my own birth. Was a quite violent birth as well. It's also a lot of home, means a lot of redness. My mother's son almost like died. So I think that death and birth and rebirth are always together when we experience this process. And hopefully COVID, we go from this, how do you say, semi-violent process, go gracefully, like the falling leaves, right, to the next stage of better life.
Thank you. And so now that we've heard somewhat about your filmmaking process, we're curious about some of the other jobs that you've done besides being an artist.
Well, I've done many things, from cook, chef, waitress, cleaner, all kinds of weird stuff you can think about. I did, especially like, always have an interest of what other people are doing, like what their jobs, what they're thinking. So I tend to put my fingers into everybody's life through working.
And this definitely would have an influence on your performance or filmmaking?
Yes.
Yeah. And okay, so now we're going in a different direction now.
Okay.
And we want to know a little bit more about you and we want to know, name something that you really love and why.
Something I really love, performance.
Performance
And sharing stories. I would say I'm a storyteller and I have many stories, interesting stories to tell. I also love to listen to stories by other people. It also kind of serves as a language, how I communicate with people. I'm not really a verbal kind of person. I'm more a sensory feeling kind of person. I pick up senses, energies. So art is a way to communicate through non-verbal ways of what I feel.
And sort of to go along with this theme of what inspires you, what music inspires you? What have you been listening to lately? What inspires your artwork?
All kinds of music. Music is very important for me. One of my childhood wishes is become a musician. So music is also very important in this film. Music, the way the music is sometimes even a bit more than the visual dialogue in this film. This week, I listen to all kinds of things, classical, funky, hip-hop. This week I listened to two things, especially. One is a French group called La Femme. the recent live album from Berlin. And then second thing I listened to this morning is the Australian band called Hiatus Coyote, Red Room. The Red Room.
And I remember you were talking about how music actually plays an important role
Yes.
in the films too.
Yeah.
What's the best piece of advice you've been given?
Many.
Many.
Many. But one thing kind of I thought about is when I was very young, probably 18, in New York, when I moved from Taiwan to New York, I saw in a bumper sticker in front of a door in the squad of artists. It says, if not me, who? If not now, when? Yeah, so pretty much inspired by, it's pretty much my life philosophy, be a doer.
Yeah, that's great. And off to a different topic.
Again?
Yes, again. We want to know you more. What's your favorite restaurant in your neighborhood and why?
My favorite restaurant. Okay, it's called recent. It's a new one. It's called Moose Amas. Maze actually. Moose, because moose always remind me of study time in Finland. And it remind me when I was in Finland, one day I took a different route to school. I passed a beautiful forest and I was kind of lost. Then I saw a huge male moose. It was kind of crazy. The moose can attack you with its huge horn. So the moose and I were staring at each other for God knows how long, eternity. And then the moose was like running away. But that was one of the most magical time in my life. How many times you can say you run into a moose in the middle of the city? Moose amazing.
It's amazing. All right, so when it comes to the online universe, what is your biggest pet peeve? So whether it's social media or emails or video calls?
I think probably it's about visual overload. Because these days people tend to be a performer, any like Instagram, social media, whatever. And for me, that because people perform in these things, it creates a certain visual overload that's too fast, too fancy, therefore too crowded. So a lot of times to make a piece, I need to or to write something, a script, I need to really cut off all these things.
Yeah.
So that's the thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And okay, this will be interesting.
Oh, tell me, bring it on,
All
bring it on.
All right.
Come on.
What is the funniest way you've ever broken the law?
Well, I don't really break the laws, but I do break the rules.
That's good.
Break the law. When I was a kid with my brother, one day after school, we loved to go to comic stores to read comic books, mangas, whatever. Don't do homework, so I hope my mom didn't see this. One day, I kind of decided it would be fun to kind of steal some comic books. So even though we had enough money, I kind of convinced my brother to stuck some comic books inside his shirt. That we look really funny. We look like, just imagine two little dwarfs, we probably 5-6-year-old, two little dwarfs with 5-6 comic books stuck in your, like a boob, and wobbling out, trying to run out with the backpack, heavy backpacks, and these stuck comic books. Of course we were caught. We looked like wobbly dwarfs. That's it.
It's really hilarious.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't steal, kids.
In which time period would you like to live? If you had to choose, and why?
Atlantis time, like ancient Atlantis time, where everybody can like telepathy with each other, like monkeys, and playing with energy crystal balls. That's the time I would like to experience.
And so Atlantis, the lost civilization.
Right. I would like to see what's going on.
Wow. That's amazing. That's awesome. All right, last question.
Yay!
Okay, last question.
Yay! Last questions, finally.
So, sort of speaking possibly about time travel, anyone in history, anyone, if you could meet them and ask them 3 questions, who would it be and what would you ask them?
Would be... Actually, it's really hard. There are so many people I like to meet in history and drill them for questions. But I thought maybe ask something like film related, art related, and at least pick a woman. I thought about 2 people. One is Maya Deren, the other is Shakespeare. I like to ask the 3 W's. Why, what, how. Mainly I want to know these 3 questions, like about their artistic creative process, like what issues at that time, at their contemporary times, what they concerned about that becomes inspiration for their artistic creative process, or become the core of what they do when they make their art. And of course, why and how. How they use their respective mediums, whether it's drama, script, theater, or film, to tackle those questions. That's it.
Well, thank you. That's it for the questions.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you
Thank
for
you
your
so
time.
much.